Sea monsters have long been a part of human folklore and cautionary tales of the sea, and while most of those stories are just elaborate fantasies of our imagination, there are some frightening, non-imaginary animals lurking beneath the water. Hey everyone, I'm Lacey Green. Welcome to D News. The most commonly reported sea monster in history is the sea serpent. It's described as a huge snake-like creature that's kind of awkwardly shaped and kind of terrifying. Most depictions of the mythical sea serpent are maybe a little bit exaggerated, but the legend likely started with the oarfish. The oarfish can grow to be 56 feet long, has unusually bright silver scales, red fins, and has some red headgear that kind of makes it look like a rooster. The oarfish has been spotted all over the world, and while their scales are pretty impressive, they're still not the brightest fish in the sea. So nothing to be too worried about should you ever come across one of those. Although researchers in New Zealand did say they emitted electrical shocks, so maybe watch out for that part. Another monster of the sea is the Portuguese man-o-war, otherwise known as the giant jellyfish. Except it's not actually a jellyfish. In fact, it's not even an it, but a they. The man-o-war is actually 4 different codependent organisms that lock together and form a massive and terrifying blob with no brain or heart. It also grew this purplish gas-filled sail out of its head that sits on top of the water and helps it to move around. But the really scary thing about this guy is the tentacles, which can reach 165 feet. Dude, that's like the width of a football field. They can be found around the world, roaming in packs of 1,000 or more, which is probably a pretty amazing sight to behold, but you don't want to get too close. Dead or alive, the man-o-war packs an extremely painful sting that's even caused death by cardiac arrest and drowning, so stick with the oarfish instead. Now this guy is pretty cool, a little small for a monster, but reserve your judgments. At first he looks like a little old grandpa with little old grandpa jowls, like, huh? What's going on, guys? But piss him off, and then, oh, you learn. Nobody messes with the sarcastic fringe head. Look at that thing's mouth and the teeth. I can't tell if they're duking it out or if they're trying to make out or what's going on there, but either way, it seems like things get a little more complicated when your mouth is 3 times the size of your body. The sarcastic fringe head is known for being a territorial, aggressive douche under the sea, which is probably where it got its name. If you're on the Pacific coast, don't go sticking your hand in any empty crevices underwater, and you'll likely steer clear of this guy. Last up, the colossal squid. Now you gotta recognize, scientists do not take this whole colossal label lightly. You may have seen our recent video covering the first ever footage of the giant squid, which is huge, but this guy is even bigger. In fact, the colossal squid is the largest squid in the world. But the fact that it's massive is actually the least frightening characteristic to me of this squid. On its arms and tentacles are hundreds of small teeth, and at the end of its limbs are little hooks that it uses to grab into prey. Now, scientists have found scars on the backs of many sperm whales, which they believe to be from the hooks of the squid. Yeah, so don't want to be getting tangled up with this one, guys. These creatures remind me of how awe-inspiring and yet terrifying the ocean is, especially when you keep in mind that humans have only explored roughly 0.5% of the ocean. That's a really teeny tiny percent. And honestly, who knows what else is out there. We'll keep you posted as cool discoveries are made unraveling mysteries of the deep, so be sure you subscribe to D News so you can stay in the loop.